I have never actually played Unicorn Overlord normally, and this is a revelation that hit me like a thunderbolt at 3 a.m. last night. My name is Tom, otherwise known as Titanium Legman, and welcome back to the channel.
Unicorn Overlord.
Hello everyone, if you enjoy what I do, my coverage of Unicorn Overlord, strategy RPGs, regular RPGs, or the gaming sphere in general, a like on this video and a subscription to the channel would be very much appreciated. Thank you so much. So yeah, what am I talking about here? I've played Unicorn Overlord through completely once, and then I've got two other runs that I'm currently working on stream and one in my own time. How have I never played it normally? I have always been doing a challenge run in Unicorn Overlord. Literally all three of my runs are non-standard ways to play. The first run that you all are probably aware of is the one where I was playing with nearly exclusively viewer-submitted and created characters, so having non-standard troop formations, not having certain classes available, and having an overabundance of other classes, and finding a way to make that work. We ran into challenges as a result. I've literally never used Warlocks whatsoever. I need to actually have a chance to try them out because I just never had one available. And we did pretty well. It led to a lot of very interesting troop combinations and a lot of interesting scenarios that we ran into, and that was really exciting. I really enjoyed having that challenge and figuring out how to make things work when we weren't utilizing what the game was maybe expecting us to have available at any given point in the story. Now, I have two different Trusannoiran runs going. I've talked about my Holy Crusade run that I've been doing off-stream, where I'm limiting myself to only using classes that would be considered part of the church or holy or very soldierly, classic Crusades type stuff. Fighters, legionnaires, knights, griffin knights, bishops, all that type of stuff. Very for the light we march type stuff. And that's been very fun because it does exclude a lot of classes, especially early classes. No housecarls, no thieves, no hunters, no barbarians or gladiators, I should say. I always want to do that because of Fire Emblem. None of those early classes. I'm stuck with a very particular set of things, and that means that I'm really lacking magic damage, and that's been one of the biggest hurdles to deal with thus far. And then now, in my Trusannoiran run that I'm doing on stream, again, y'all are probably familiar with this. It is a Permadeath challenge run. I cannot grind. If I lose an entire squad, they are gone forever. No reloading. If a lane dies, it is game over. The run gets wiped. If we lose the objective, that causes a game over. The run gets wiped. And it has led to some very interesting scenarios and some heartbreak recently as we lost our first squad of Bruno, Magellan, Jeremy, and one viewer-submitted Arbalist, Claudia. It has been a very interesting way to play because I cannot just be blasé about what happens with a squad. And there's been a number of times where we've nearly lost other squads as well, including Elaine, where his squad got bounced against a rock and jettisoned directly into the enemy boss squad as they were getting bombarded by assist attacks. I barely was able to pull out of that with my life intact and with the run intact, with a rabid amount of swapping around positions and changing gear to find the one solution that would allow us to survive. And that brings me around to the topic of this video, because even though I have never played Unicorn Overlord quote-unquote normally, I have had nothing but fun with it. And it makes me think of something that I saw Coffee Potato himself saying early on in the game's life cycle, even before it came out when we were just playing the demo. It is a perfect vehicle for challenge runs. Unicorn Overlord's replay value does not come from post-game things or branching story paths or anything like that. It comes from the fact that it gives you so many different tools that you can use to shape a specific, unique run for yourself that will dramatically change the way that you play the game. And that's something that I think people are not appreciating about it enough currently, but will continue to appreciate more and more as time goes by. Why? Two reasons. First of all, there's been a lot of critique that the game is too easy or that it doesn't have major post-game things or stuff like that that cause it to have replay value, a reason to keep playing it. So when people realize that this reason is there in the form of challenge runs, I think they're going to be very pleased and the game is going to see a nice resurgence in players. And two, we see in a lot of strategy RPGs, turn-based RPGs, people turn to challenge runs and have done so for years to keep the game fresh and interesting and make it continue to be enjoyable to play. Look at things like Fire Emblem, low man runs, lord only runs, low turn count runs, no weapon expiry runs, all sorts of different crazy things that people come up with to make the game more challenging and stress its systems to the limit to see what you can get away with. And that's awesome. That is an enduring aspect of the Fire Emblem community for as long as I've been a part of it. And let me tell you, I've been part of it for over half of my lifespan now. So like a pretty long time when I'm 32. Same thing with things like Final Fantasy Tactics. You'll have people who only use certain classes, monoclass runs, don't use other classes, have no grinding, permadeath challenges, no uniques, no generics, all sorts of different things like that that make the game more interesting, more challenging, or different in a way that makes it more fun to engage with. And I think we now have a new title in that category with Unicorn Overlord. And that is awesome. Like, I could not possibly be happier with the fact that I can just say, you know, this is how I'm going to play the game today, and start a run and then just have that be doable. Like, another run that I was thinking of is playing the countries in reverse order. Going to Bastorius as soon as possible, because you can't get to Albion first out of all the countries. Like, you have to do one of Bastorius, Drakenhold, or Alheim. But going to Bastorius first as the highest level zone that you can go to, then taking the boat to Albion once you clear Bastorius, do Albion, and then go clear Alheim and Drakenhold. Will it absolutely turn the game's difficulty on its head? Sure, because you're going to run into the biggest walls early, but you're also going to get a huge power boost in terms of levels by doing those difficult areas first, and then you'll go and crush Drakenhold and Alheim and things like that. But it'll be interesting because not only will it be such a dramatic level difference for you, especially at first, that's really going to necessitate things like summon warriors spam, traps, items, etc., but it's also going to dramatically change what classes you have available to you. You won't be able to rely on having busted stuff like, you know, the Elven Sisters or Virginia and Berengaria, or even like having access to certain generic classes or things like that that might be considered a crutch for you personally in the way that you play the game. It's going to put way more of an emphasis on like how good are the Bestral units, what mercenaries are you actually able to recruit in Bastorius or in Albion, and I think it'll make a very interesting way to play the game. And that's just something I whipped up off the top of my head, literally as I'm sitting here recording this video. Like, that's not something I had planned out ahead of time, but it would be a very interesting way to go about it. I think a no items run could be really fun. A mono class run could be really fun. I know Coffee Potato's been talking about his fighters only run, which sounds insane. I'm sure it can be done, but God, it also sounds like it would be really tough to pull off just because of so many options being missing. But that would be the case with any mono class run. There's just a ton of stuff that you can do. No promotions. How would that turn out? No Lapis or Carnelian Pendant runs. Like, there's so many different things that you can do. And in an era when you have so many games that are very linear in the way that they let you progress, even if it's open world and has all of these options available to you, once you've done it once, like you've done everything there is to do, it's like, okay, well, I can just approach it in a different order, I guess. But at the end of the day, I'm still going to be taking the same radio towers and unlocking the same sections of the map and whatever. Here, you are fundamentally changing the way that you play the game by adding or removing mechanics that you can utilize. And that is so, so cool. So, I implore you, consider doing some challenge runs. I know a lot of people have played and finished Unicorn Overlord at this point. If you still enjoy it and you are looking for another reason to replay it, try a challenge run. Take one of mine. You know, get all of your friends and family to submit characters for you to use, and you have to use those characters over uniques, or only use the Holy Crusade characters, or only use, like, mercenaries, bandits, and ne'er-do-wells, and brigands, or do a permadeath challenge run. I have all the rules on my channel, on my streams. Copy those rules, see how it goes for you. There are options that you can take to change up the way that you approach Unicorn Overlord, and it really does make the game feel so, so different. Like, my Crusade run is True Zenoiran, as is my True Zenoiran Permadeath Challenge run. But not having Permadeath in my Crusade run has made things very different in the way that I can just throw units at things and see what happens. Can't do that in my Permadeath run. There's so many different options of ways that you can go about doing these types of challenge runs. I highly encourage you to do so. And if you do, or you have your own challenge runs that you've already done, let me know about it in the comments. I would love to hear what y'all have been doing, how this has been going for you if you have been trying it already, or if you're inspired now to try something based off of what I was saying, or you had an idea strike you like the thunder of God, then let me know that in the comments too, because maybe I'll wind up using that for a challenge run of my own in the future. We'll have to see. With that said, though, I just wanted to put this one together, to put this idea in people's heads, and because I had that realization last night after I wrapped up the stream as of time of recording, and it just really makes me appreciate Unicorn Overlord even more than I already do. So, thank you all so much for watching. My name has been Tom, otherwise known as Titanium Legman. I hope you all have a good night. Stay safe and healthy out there. And remember, be good to each other. Bye now.